Alright everyone, it's Halloween. After covering so many terrifying and not terrifying topics, what kind of monster could I cover for this year's Halloween finale list?
Is it me? Am I the monster?
Well, you are mysterious since you haven't been in one of my videos in over a year, but you're not exactly what I'm looking for. However, you can join me for this video if you have a good topic for the scariest holiday of the year.
I live! Let's do one of my old favorites. Terrors of the Deep.
Ah, turning to horrifying sea life. I like it. Now what are we looking for with these marine monsters?
Well, since the dawn of time, humanity has feared what lurks in the unknown depths of the ocean. From real-life horrors to mythological monstrosities. Today we're taking a look at things that go splash in the night.
Now, while calling them the Terrors of the Deep is the coolest description, the more accurate name would probably be aquatic monsters, since not every body of water these creatures lurk in is supposedly deep. They can exist in any marine environment, from the bottomless oceans and seas to the secluded swamps to the tiniest puddles. Oh, and so newer viewers don't have to refer to you as the mysterious stranger, reintroduce who you are in less than 15 seconds and we can get this list started.
Hey guys, good to talk to you again. If you don't remember me, check out Mr. Top 10's videos on Injustice 2 or on DC Comics characters. I'm usually the comics consultant here, but today it's time to get spooky.
Spooky indeed. So let's dive into the top 10 Terrors of the Deep, or top 10 aquatic monsters, whichever title you prefer.
Number 10, Jaws.
While most of the other entries on this list are either fictional animals based on real sea animals or humanoid creatures with aquatic traits, Jaws is simply a real-life animal. He's a shark. The reason he's lurking these oceans, terrifying all these tourists, is because he's a shark. And the reason he's killing people in this movie is because he's a shark, and he's hungry. The fact that a slasher-style killer was a single shark made him seem like he was much more. Like he was this monstrosity meant for destruction rather than a shark we could probably find if we searched the ocean hard enough. Being the landmark killer sea life movie, Jaws not only set the stage for many imitators, but it basically is the reason people have a fear of sharks lurking in the ocean.
Real-life sharks are not Jaws. They are much less deadly than Jaws. You are more likely to kill them than they are to kill you.
Number 9. The creature from the Black Lagoon. He's part of an exclusive horror group, the Universal Movie Monsters. The monsters that represent the pillars of spooky characters that lurk in the shadows. The creature from the Black Lagoon, though, seems to be the least mentioned of the classic monsters, probably because he was the last one to appear. But he had those countless sequels and started the trope of humanoid sea monsters in science fiction, so he certainly is iconic. Apparently though, not iconic enough where people refer to him by his actual name. Who knew his real name was Gill-man, or is it pronounced Gilman, as in James Gilman, attorney at law?
Alright, but let's be honest. Gill-man drops him to number 9, as does the fact that a lot of us can't remember what he looks like until you just saw this picture.
Really the nickname that the title of the movie gave him is why he has his staying power, though his track record includes kidnapping a woman, looking really creepy, and walking at a pace that makes it really easy to run from him, checking the boxes of some classic horror movie tropes. Though since the creature was first seen in 1954, I guess they were considered hip new ideas when he was doing them.
Number 8, Swamp Thing. You knew I was going to include something about comics, didn't ya? So Swamp Thing originally appeared in 1971 in the comic series House of Secrets. However, he's better known for his own series, where Dr. Alec Holland mutates into a terrifying vegetative creature. Although, under Alan Moore, the writer best known for Watchmen and other award-winning works, Swamp Thing was not Alec Holland himself, but a swamp creature who retained Dr. Holland's memories and was trying to be human, and had to struggle with not being able to ever be human again.
Before his modern popularity, Swamp Thing always felt like an anomaly to me in the comic fandom. He had a cult following, but that fanbase never collided with the world of DC Comics crossovers in his 80s and 90s popularity. He had a 1982 film that cemented one of his legacies as a campy 80s B-movie monster that strayed away from his actual origin in the comics. He also got a live-action TV series and a Saturday morning cartoon at the same time, the latter of which has a theme song that parodies the song Wild Thing, singing "Swamp Thing, you're amazing." That line from the theme song made it into Injustice 2's story mode. That's just a minor example of why I love NetherRealm Studios. Swamp Thing re-emerged from his swamp for mainstream appearances in Justice League Dark, Injustice 2, Justice League Action, and potentially more on the way.
The swamp might not be too deep, but Swamp Thing has made his mark.
Number 7. Gyarados, everyone's favorite sea serpent fake dragon Pokemon. Pokemon has plenty of sea monsters, but how could you go wrong with the original monstrosity, Gyarados? It's even known as the atrocious Pokemon.
Now, I know my Halloween costume is Team Aqua this year, so you might think I'd be allied with a different sea monster Pokemon, but look, I'll wrestle any fish. I'll beat Kyogre up, but Gyarados was my childhood. You don't beat that sea monster.
In the anime, Gyarados was this feared Pokemon with trainers acting like it was uncontrollable. When we first saw it after the gang was stranded at sea, Gyarados was the result of James kicking his Magikarp off their impromptu boat, and the Magikarp spontaneously evolving into a Gyarados, followed by it summoning a few more of its kind, and then combining their powers to unleash the move Dragon Rage. 40 points of damage hurts when you're a normal human! That's a pretty epic introduction, it's kinda metal. Gyarados is basically an anti-joke Pokemon. He evolves from a weak Magikarp who seems like a joke considering it can barely attack and you find it with a fishing rod made of old sticks and string, yet it turns out he's a massively powerful beast when he evolves. The concept behind Gyarados is based on Chinese legend where if a carp jumps over the mysterious dragon gate, it will become a dragon. Since he's based off a myth about a fish becoming a dragon, maybe that's why Gyarados' status as an official dragon is just as imaginary. He looks like a dragon and is considered an honorary dragon by Lance, but is not a dragon by typing. Even when he changes his type through the process of Mega Evolution, he doesn't even change into a dragon type. He just turns into Pete, the jumbo shrimp.
Number 6. Scylla. Scylla originally appears in Homer's Odyssey. Odysseus and his crew must navigate between two impossible hazards, the great sea monster Scylla and the great whirlpool Charybdis, each which threaten to destroy his ship and eat his crew.
Now just imagine if Odyssey guy had a Gyarados. He could have taught it the move Whirlpool to get through that Charybdis whirlpool and completely avoid all of this.
His name is Odysseus, you dingus. Now, Scylla has looked a lot of different ways. She's a nymph who was turned into a horrible sea monster. Sometimes she appears as a creature with dog heads sprouting out of her body. Sometimes she appears as having multiple dragon heads.
I think the dog head look is the most famous one. The best example of Scylla in other media would probably be her appearance in Smite, where she was a deceivingly tiny princess-looking character with evil intentions and massive tentacles with dog heads on them hidden under her dress. She could send the heads to attack her opponent in many ways, attacking from a distance, teleporting with the head named Zoe, who's a good girl, and just revealing her true form as an ultimate attack. Number 5. Ursula from The Little Mermaid. Wait, why are we calling her a monster? Just because she has an octopus for a lower half while the other characters have a fish for a lower half? That just makes her unique. Is it her magic? She can magically produce a paper contract out of nothing, and it doesn't get all soggy like normal paper. Sounds practical, not monstrous to me.
I mean, she did try to trick Ariel, steal her man, and then turned into the size of a ship and got all impaled. It was a whole monster thing.
Okay, fine. Monster is an acceptable description, especially with Kingdom Hearts. But what's this trickery? Ariel said, "I want legs!" And Ursula said, "Sure, I can help you. I have a spell just for that. I'll just need your voice as payment. No other costs. The body parts will work fine." Seems like she was just trying to assist with a fair business deal. She could have taken Ariel's arms or something more extreme.
I mean, she took Ariel's voice specifically because that's what the prince would have recognized. But sure, have it your way. I will admit, she has one of the best Disney villain songs in history. You poor unfortunate souls. What a song. Number 4, Cthulhu. God, I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
I always thought it was pronounced Cthulhu, and I'm going to continue pronouncing it that way because H.P. Lovecraft uses consonants in ways they should not be used.
As an incomprehensible thing man was not meant to know. In most depictions, he is a winged and tentacled figure, and he counts in our video for Monsters of the Deep because he slumbers in the great sunken city of Relay, awaiting his awakening.
Cthulhu somehow became a running gag in pop culture when something like a TV show or a video game needed something ridiculously powerful, and a skyscraper-sized tentacle man from underwater fits that bill. The goofiest examples I can think of are probably South Park and Scribblenauts, the latter of which allowed you to summon Cthulhu to solve puzzles. I actually first heard of Cthulhu in The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy in the episode Prank Call of Cthulhu. Or perhaps it was that Freakazoid episode where Cthulhu was a bodybuilder. I don't really know, but the point is, Cthulhu is in a lot of child-friendly things when you look at it.
Cthulhu has often captured the imagination, and anybody who's played Arkham Horror or Call of Cthulhu knows how good a time the game can be.
Number 3, the Megalodon. Another shark? I thought Jaws was the best shark there is. This is just a prehistoric shark. I don't want to go to the past, I want to go towards the future.
Look, Jaws is awesome, but the Megalodon is like Jaws went Super Saiyan. This thing could have swallowed you whole without the whole bloody mess of Jaws. We're talking some Jonah and the Whale stuff, just with way more teeth.
Come to think of it, there is one notable Megalodon in anime I can think of. Megalo from One Piece. He might just look like an ordinary shark, but since he's from King Neptune's kingdom, he's the closest thing we have to a modern Megalodon since everything from there is giant. Despite his size and teeth, he is super friendly. He's more like a pet than a wild animal, being the animal companion of Princess Shirahoshi, a giant mermaid. He's one of the most harmless characters in the series. He just wants to be friends. He's scared of conflict. His best, power is probably shoving things in his mouth. That Jonah and the Whale reference we made a minute ago was not an exaggeration. He was able to transport the One Piece crew when they were helping out during the Fishman Island arc in the series, and he can take that ability one step beyond. He can transport Shirahoshi. It looks like the most uncomfortable scenario for him, but it gets the job done when he needs to sneak her out of somewhere. Just don't look at his face when he is sneaking. He has a horrible poker face when the mermaid is crushing his internal organs.
Number 2, the Loch Ness Monster. Affectionately known as Nessie, this is one of the original cryptids. Since 1933, there's been an ongoing craze, believing that there's a monster in Loch Ness in Scotland. And while most people think it's a hoax, some people find the mysterious photographs very convincing.
The fact that people's imagination created a beast based on a blurry photograph has translated over to the monster appearing in other works of fiction, using both the alleged monster and parodies of it. I distinctly remember Disney's Doug having a plotline with the monster of Lucky Duck Lake, which just ended up being a parody of the Loch Ness Monster legend by name only, since this monster was adorable and lizard-like. Eventually, Disney did a more accurate representation of the monster's legend in their Gravity Falls episode with the Gobblewonker. It's basically your standard search for the Loch Ness Monster tale, but with very fun characters. And wouldn't you know it, Pokemon is relevant once again in this entry, since Lapras draws inspiration from the Loch Ness Monster, with its original name being Ness before the game's release. Of course, with that name, you could have had the fun Nintendo wordplay of Ness rides Ness while playing the Ness. The use of the quote-unquote official Loch Ness monster has been seen in a good amount of media as well, like that Simpsons episode where they go from normal jokes to this plot where the Loch Ness monster actually exists when they're searching for it, and he works at a casino in the end, and it just goes off the rails more than you'd expect. I just don't find it funny. Maybe if it was a Treehouse of Horror episode, I could see it,
No, don't mention the Simpsons episode. Don't mention the Simpsons episode, man.
I'm sorry. It's just so fun complaining about bad episodes of things I like. Maybe doing some honorable mentions will prevent me from ranting any further. Giganto the Whale from Marvel Comics. Just listen to that name, that is cheesy fun. He's a giant enemy whale of the Fantastic Four, and his special power is he has human-like arms and legs. He's a whale with hands.
He has opposable thumbs. He can do anything.
Moby Dick, or does he go by Moby Richard now? Captain Ahab was hunting him for revenge, but was the whale really a monster or just a normal whale who seemed like the enemy?
The real monster was Captain Ahab's obsession.
Is that actually the moral of the story?
I studied literature once.
And finally, Missing No from Pokemon. What, you find that glitch by surfing on the water right off the coast of an island? He's terrifying, he's from the deep, he works. Tuber Ricky, back me up here.
You know, all I want to do is have a fun day at the beach with my Pokemon, and then all of a sudden I'm confronted by that 10-foot-tall Tetris Cthulhu monstrosity. There's something funny in the water on Cinnabar Island.
For number 1, I want a creature that's been around seemingly forever. It has name recognition, look recognition, and would be Aquaman's first choice to fight alongside him. It's...
Can I say it? Just once? Can I say it?
If it's your life's dream, go ahead.
Release the Kraken!
Just by hearing those 3 words, you can tell this beast is not to be messed with. Mass destruction is coming when it's in the area. It also helped that Liam Neeson was the one to deliver that command in the movie with that line where he released said Kraken.
What movie was that from anyway?
Is the name of the movie really important? Everyone just quotes that one line from it anyway, yeah, I think. Don't you have some lore you have to go into?
Originating in ancient Icelandic and Norse legends, the Kraken has been described as a giant cephalopod-like creature, although sometimes it is also described as having crab-like appendages. Whatever it is, it's a giant beast, perhaps based off the giant squid that has appeared in films, TV, video games, any media you want has had the Kraken.
Wow, so many rich pieces of media from all over time to choose from. I can pick an example of any Kraken with a backstory that shows the struggles of a warrior's journey, leading to thought-provoking adventures. I'm going to talk about a random Yu-Gi-Oh card now. There have been 4 different monster cards that define themselves as Kraken by name in the series. Skull Kraken was the coolest looking of them, but the first Yu-Gi-Oh Kraken we ever saw was the Fiend Kraken. A Kraken so powerful they never released it internationally. Oh man, look at those subpar stats without an effect. Classic Yu-Gi-Oh! We saw the true terror of this monster in the anime episode when Yu-Gi duels Mako Tsunami. Since early Yu-Gi-Oh's rules were, I don't know, do things monsters would do in a fight, the Fiend Kraken is summoned on the first turn and lasts until Mako loses. I know, shocking spoiler, but the fact that this Kraken lasts for 12 long turns shows the endurance of the beast. For the entire duel, it just kills all of Yugi's monsters from underwater, never revealing its face, only showing its tentacles when it's ready to strangle. Yugi was unaware of what this creature looks like as his monsters go down one by one. Then Yugi summons Giant Soldier of Stone to destroy the moon, causing the water where the Kraken was hiding into recede and kills the Kraken. And that's how you defeat a Kraken, just destroy the moon. Don't worry, no one's using it. And that's just one of the many modern Krakens.
But it's in the classics too. Alfred Lord Tennyson wrote a sonnet about it. Moby Dick references it.
And I have a few more modern examples like Tsurume from One Piece and that one Kraken from that Geico commercial.
Didn't it eat Johnny Depp that one time?
Alright, I think if we keep giving new examples and elaborating on them, this segment will be like an hour long. So let's leave it at the Cephalopodtastic Kraken is our top aquatic terror of the deep super ultra sea monster. Trust us. So what did you think of these choices? Did we cover all of your favorites, or did we leave off a few beasts that lurk in the deep or not so deep water? I feel it's the latter. Let us know in the comments. Anyway, thank you all for watching, happy Halloween, or whatever day it is for you when you're watching this video if it's not October 31st, and we will see you in the next video.